Why don't you give me a sign?
This is Corinna Jane.
The leaves are trailing on that shore. It's not your problem, it's mine.
With her brand new single, Give Me a Sign. As featured on BBC Introducing.
It's just the way it's gotta be. Give me a sign about the things that we don't know. Why don't you give me a sign?
Corinna Jane, Give Me a Sign. Out now.
It's not your problem, it's mine.
Hello, I'm Sophia Jessica, and welcome to the Fan Carpet.
Welcome, Yuval. It's wonderful to speak to you again. How are you?
I'm doing great. I really do want to keep talking like this. Would you be terribly offended if I do that?
Not at all. It's what performers do.
Yeah, you know, we need to find little places to be different, to be weird, to be just different than who we are in the normal daily life. So in honor of you, no, I won't do that to you. Marc, it's really good to see you again. It was fun chatting with you last time. Last time you had full hoodie action going. Now
I did, yeah. I've still got the long hair. I'm just not wearing a hoodie. And my background has changed because I recently moved.
Wow, nice. That's a very, very nice furniture in the background. It's good.
Yeah.
Gray, solid, strong color.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's...
But Marc, come on. If you have this long hair, you need to flaunt it. Why are you always wearing hats every time I see you?
It's a look. I like the hat. And I'm...
You like it? Then I like it.
I like the hat and I'm thinning on top.
Yeah. Oh, well, aren't we all? What are you drinking?
Tea. A green tea.
You're so British. I'm having coffee with oat milk, and I added cardamom and lavender to it. It's delicious.
That's awesome. Yeah, so that's nice. That's a nice blend there.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's really great to see you. A lot has transpired since we last spoke, not only in our respective careers, but in this whole crazy world.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I'll just jump in. How has the pandemic changed the way that you work on one actor short?
How has the pandemic changed the way I work specifically regarding one actor short? Well, I'll say that the first part of this pandemic, for most of this pandemic, I was focusing on what I could do with the existing episodes. And I submitted them to many different film festivals and content festivals. And I also got invited to submit one actor short to some of the television and web series festivals. It turns out that I got accepted to over 60 festivals and won something like 40 awards.
That's awesome.
That's pretty awesome. So that's how the pandemic changed it, that I was focusing on what I could do with my existing content and get it seen by the most amount of people possible. But then I was so hungry to continue to create. So I said, I have to create one during this pandemic. The whole series is an experiment. So why not continue to experiment? And created a pandemic episode, which of course, organically in this genre. At the start of the day, I have no clue what kind of film we're going to create, what kind of genre. So organically, since we're filming in the midst of a pandemic, it became a pandemic end of the world film. One of the things that was actually unique is most people were so into it. Normally I get rejected a significant amount of time when I ask random strangers to spontaneously act in a film. And this time I think I maybe had 2 instances of people rejecting me and everybody else said yes. And I was so confused. I said, wait, I need somebody to reject me, but nobody, other than these 2 quick instances in the beginning, people didn't. And I think it says a lot about how hungry we are for connecting. how hungry we are for engaging with others.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no shortage of creativity with the series. Obviously, you had your crime procedural, which was your first episode, and you've had your romantic comedy. So, what can fans expect from the ongoing series?
Well, what's exciting is that you never really know what to expect. All I know is where I'm going to film, what the weather is going to be like, if it's weather permitting, I guess. And maybe the attire that I decide to wear based on the inspiration of where I think would be a good location to film. So the first one organically became the crime procedural, as you mentioned. The second one was a romantic comedy. The third one was a sports film. This fourth one is an end of the world pandemic film. And what I'm really excited about doing is starting to expand it beyond New York City. I've created these 4 episodes in New York City, plus a bevy of person on the street content all around the different boroughs of New York City. But I don't want to be Manhattan centric or New York centric. I like to represent different people throughout my content. So I would love to take this to different cities. My goal with One Actor Short is to film in cities not just around the United States, but around the world. I would love to film it in different areas of the UK, because one of the unique things about this is, even though it's entertainment based, it's a reflection on the people in that specific city. So it is a commentary on that city. What can people expect for the future? Is One Actor Short might be coming to a city near you.
That's pretty cool. It's always wanting to build it bigger and bigger and better each time. Do you enjoy the improvised nature of the show? And what are some of the challenges that you faced with this way of working?
I love the improvised nature of the show. The improvised nature of the show is what creates every element of the show. Really, I call it guided improvisation, because I'm directing the process. It's not purely improvisation where people just do whatever they want to do. I'm improvising with these new actors who make me no longer be One Actor Short, right? They provide an extra actor for me, and I guide them through it. If they say something that's really great, then I'll say, oh, that was brilliant. That was so exciting. Could you do it again? So I get another take. And then I have my camera operators grab that from another angle. So that's where the guidedness comes. And then, of course, I'm directing my camera crew and the audio sound recordists at the same time to make sure that all of these different moving parts are working. So the improvisational aspect of it is what is most exciting, because I have anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes at most to grab content with this person. Because I also feel bad. I mean, part of me is like, oh my God, I know you have plans, you have somewhere to go. You're obviously walking from one location to another. I promise you, I won't take a lot of your time. So I have to be a person of my word and not take up a lot of their time.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have to have a clear idea of what your intentions are, even
Absolutely.
if you start off with not knowing exactly.
Well, my intentions, in truth, are to let people shine. My intention is to provide an experience that will entertain and uplift and inspire this person who's agreed to take part of it, because I want them to have fun. I want them to feel better about themselves, because the point is, I say that these people are worthy of being in a movie. These people are worthy of being actors and having cameras pointed at them and microphones pointed at them. So that's the uplift part. The entertain is just make sure they have a good time. And the inspire is to create this space where they can be playful, where they can be childlike, where they can improvise, and everything that they do is okay. Anything that they share with me is completely usable. And while many times we get these wonderful performances from people who aren't actors, and the audiences and the fans are saying, oh my God, that person has to be an actor. They need to be an actor. Why are they not an actor? But I'll say that the most fun performances are from those who definitely are not actors, definitely won't be actors, and are just so quirky and weird and awkward and vulnerable, but they're brave enough to share whatever it is they're doing. And that is inspiring for audiences to say, oh my gosh, what would I do if Yuval approaches me and wants, pardon me, if Yuval approaches me and wants me to be in his film, would I say yes or would I say no? But then they see these people who just said yes and had a great time.
Do they always have a good time? And do you make sure that they have a good time?
I hope so. I will say that when people get nervous and awkward, I actually find that beautiful. So I give them that breathing room to feel whatever it is they're feeling. That's the same thing I do whenever I direct actors in my professional productions. And I mean, this is a professional production too, but it's the same when I direct professional actors in theater or in film. I want the actors to have that breathing room. I want them to experience whatever they're experiencing. And when I have the benefit of film and television to take a camera and zoom in to really see what's going on, what they're revealing, I find that beautiful. So if they're ever nervous, I can use that. You ask though, are they ever not having a good time? I've definitely encountered the people who say, look, I don't have a lot of time for this. We got to pick it up. We got to go faster. They're like, you said 5 minutes, we're at 6 minutes. I've had so many people say that, which is definitely revealing about the New York City mentality. Everybody's always going, everybody's always moving. And if I said 6 minutes, they say, okay, I can probably give you 4. I've had people say that, and not necessarily looking at their wrists. I don't wear watches, but you got the point.
Yeah, I did.
So I do get that sometimes, but I'll say that provides an extra challenge for me to work faster, and I appreciate that guideline, and I have fun with it. They're now dictating what I'm able to do.
Awesome. So obviously, like, you work on in front of the camera, but also behind. Do you have a preference of where you like to play, or do you just have fun with the whole thing?
You know, I get asked that question so often. My career started as an actor. Most of my career has been as an actor. I started to create content for myself as an actor to say, wait a second, I cannot wait for somebody to provide an opportunity for me. I have the auditions, the callbacks, there's the rejections, there's the time that I'm cast, there's the time that I'm cast and a production gets put on hold, there's the time that I really think I'm gonna get it and then I don't get it. And I couldn't just wait for somebody to create content for me. So I created that content for myself. And as I was creating content for myself, I would create content for others because I recognized that I'm not alone. I'm not the only actor who's craving to work whenever I have free time. So I would write monologues for my other actor friends. I would film scenes with them and create content together. And I started directing more and more and more. And I love directing. I love making people be their best. But I still love to act as well because I like to be my best and explore it. So I don't know. I can't say that I love one more than the other. I really approach both in a very similar way.
Do you find it challenging though when you're acting as well as directing at the same time?
100%. It is 100% challenging to act and direct in the same content because while I dive deeply into my character that I'm playing and responding to all the stimuli from the scene partners, from the other people in the scene, from the props, from the location, from all of the things that a listening and receiving actor does. But at the same time, I have to also be aware of what the other actors are doing, what the cameras are doing, and make sure that I'm capturing what I want to capture. So there's a definite challenge there. One of the solutions that I have is by speaking very, very clearly with my crew and with the audio recordists to say, when something like this is happening, you can come in, you can stay, this is when you should stay back, this is when you should come in, this is the type of characters that are being developed, I would like these types of sweeping motions of the camera, and we speak about it. And I let the camera crew and the sound recordists to really be active collaborators. I said, I need you to be a storyteller in this, and if you have ideas, talk to me. It's a collaborative process. That also helps me as I'm balancing these different roles in a production. If I know that I have a qualified storyteller in a camera operator and in every part of the crew, it really helps me in telling the story, in directing them and directing the actors and directing myself at the same time.
Awesome. Now, on the other side, you're also working on a documentary. What are you allowed to say about that?
So for the past year and a half, I've been working on a feature-length documentary that I'm directing and producing. It is about the challenges within the intersection of LGBTQ and faith-based identities. It's a documentary that was born out of an art project that I saw a need for. I saw a need of representing this identity in an artistic way. And of course, I can't do anything small. So I said, wait a second, I can't only create an art project. I might as well create a film about this at the same time. I originally thought that I was going to create a short form documentary, a 10-minute, maybe 15-minute documentary. Then that turned into a 20-minute documentary. And then I recognized that I was telling the story of people who needed their story to be told. I was making people feel seen in a way that they really needed it. So how dare I limit it to a short form documentary? And it expanded to this feature-length documentary. What's exciting about it is there's a lot of industry buzz about it, from film festivals to the different film production companies who got involved or wanted to be involved. But also, we had a leak of some of the photos from this project, which got leaked at the Vatican. Which is very exciting. It would make many people nervous, but for me, I find it exciting because it means that our conversation is getting to the people who need to actively speak about this, need to be in the conversation. So right now we're submitted to festivals, we're reaching out to networks, and we're going to see what the next step is going to be with a world premiere, and hopefully with some sort of streaming platform or network that will want to showcase this film.
Awesome. It's a heavy subject matter, but I'm sure it's near and dear to your heart. So, and it'd be dealt with in a responsible manner.
Yeah, one of the big things is because so much of the content I create focuses on inclusion and acceptance and making people feel seen. And again, I use this mantra so many times: to entertain, uplift, and inspire. That has to be part of everything I do, whether that's the subject matter or how I just want my audiences to feel, and how I want the people who are collaborating with me to feel. So while it's a very sensitive subject matter, I want to make everybody feel included in the conversation. I'm not telling you in this film what I think needs to be done. I'm showing the voices of people who are affected, the people who dedicate their lives to this intersectional identity, the LGBTQ and faith-based identity. I'm creating a platform for them to share their stories, to share their initiatives. And my hope is not just to engage in the conversation with people who support the LGBTQ community and people who don't support the LGBTQ community, but it's also to save lives, because a fact is suicide, depression, and anxiety rates are at an all-time high. In 2019, Psychology Today released a study saying that in 2019, the depression, stress, and anxiety and suicide rates were at an all-time high. That was 2019. We're now in 2020 with the mess that 2020 is happening. So if somebody is of a community who's saying, you are not good, you are not holy, you are not right, you are not accepted, that's going to increase their chances of feeling rejected, of feeling stress, anxiety, depression, and goddess forbid, suicide. So I want this film to make people feel seen, to make people feel part of, to make people feel included. And I am so excited to release this film into the world and release this photo project into the world to make people feel included and accepted and allow them to engage in the conversation.
Awesome. It's an important message to get out there. It truly is. So outside of your own projects, because you mentioned that when we last spoke, you mentioned that you did voiceovers as well. Do you have anything else that you're working on that you're allowed to talk about?
So I am currently doing voiceovers for a few different documentary series, narrating these documentaries. Some are short form, some are long form, and also doing voiceovers for organizational videos that's aiming to, for social change, for social justice, for progressive inclusion, for different aspects of supporting arts communities and marginalized communities and environmental causes. Many times I lend my talents as a voice actor, as a host, as a filmmaker to help them create content. So it seems like every single week I'm involved with different nonprofits to see how I can utilize my talents, my approach to sharing a narrative to support them. So that's something I do all the time, from working with the Aguda, which is an the Israeli LGBTQ task force, to the United States National LGBTQ task force, to the Jewish National Fund, to the Shoah Foundation, which was created by Berg to capture the testimonies of Holocaust survivors. So right now we're in active conversations of how to use those testimonies and create content and sharing the narrative. The list goes on to different arts organizations to promote arts funding, because this is a challenging time and I want to help artists thrive. So if I can collaborate and create content, then that would be a very, very important thing for me to help my community. And even last night, I hosted an event for JCPA, which is the Jewish Council for Public Affairs, which is started in 1940 in the United States to really help the social justice movement, not only for Jews, but for all people. And that was a great honor. That took a lot of work leading up to it. And it was a massive event that you can go to the JCPA website to see more. And they also put it on their YouTube channel, this really great video. Other than that, I do all kinds of voiceovers, big gigs and small gigs. Some of them, I just recorded a voicemail system for a company. There's nothing sexy about that, right? But it's a gig and it's work. And that's something I tell so many people in my industry. There's so much work out there. Don't just sit at home and wait for the phone to ring. Reach out. Where can your voice be used? Where can your writing skills be used? Where can your directorial skills be used? Your filmmaking skills, your theatrical skills, your artistic, whatever it is. I really don't stop, which is probably why my coffee mugs are always about the size of half of my head. So I'm gonna have an extra sip just for that.
Go for it. That's awesome. You mentioned the Holocaust there. It's kind of shocking that still in 2020 there's people that that deny the Holocaust even existed. I'm not one of those. I'm of Jewish heritage, so I know that it happened and it's a travesty. So, but yeah. So
Your being of Jewish heritage, that becomes part of your epigenetics of the Jewish consciousness because of the Jewish community and how the second generation, as we call them, the children of Holocaust survivors, and the third generation, which are people like me, the grandchildren of Holocaust survivors, how we are directly affected by what our grandparents went through. So the Holocaust isn't just a historical era, it's my family story. There's a reason my family is so small. There's a reason I'm so intense about making the most of myself and trying not to complain, because I'm raised saying, well, it's not as bad as the Holocaust. It's not as bad as what my grandparents went through and their family, the majority of their family and friends who were brutally tortured and murdered. And I don't think that that's necessarily a healthy approach, because everybody should be able to complain about stuff and everybody should be able to feel things. But there's this drive to do the best you can, to help others the most you can. And that's why we see all these Jewish organizations like JCPA, which I mentioned, the event last night, which aims to help all people, or the Shoah Foundation, headed by Steven Spielberg and Stephen Smith at UCLA. How can we use the Holocaust and our experiences and the testimonies of Holocaust survivors to help other people, to educate other people, and to create content with it? We are not seeing that many people with numbers on their arms anymore. That was a very normal thing for me to see it every day on all kinds of people I knew and people I didn't. It's the generation of Holocaust survivors are a dying generation. And it is our responsibility to share their experiences, to share the resilience in their stories of survival and how they managed to survive and create a life after going through a massive trauma. And that's something we also can share with all people, no matter what traumas they're going through, is how to approach things from a place of forward movement, of resilience, and of chasing after life. I actually was speaking with a doctor. I was speaking at this event, a virtual event. And on the panel was a doctor who specializes in the elderly community. And she said that something that always amazed her is her elderly patients who are and were Holocaust survivors have this tendency to fight for life. They keep going no matter what their experiences, what health conditions they're dealing with due to their advanced age, and also due to whatever traumas they physically and psychologically experience that are now coming back to truly haunt them, how they're dealing with that and trying to still continue and live longer and live well. That's part of that resilience that we all can learn from.
Absolutely. You're working on so many different things. What do you do with any downtime that you have?
So I started working out at a place called Soldier Fit. Soldier Fit is a gym that's near me, and they observe all strict social distancing guidelines. And the amount of, I hope they have a cleaning crew there, but as part of our requirements as members, we're cleaning everything. I don't do windows, so don't try to ask me to come over and clean. So I'm working out with Soldier Fit, which is really so good for my mental health. It's functional fitness training and high intensity interval training. And I also need somebody to tell me what to do. So much of my career is creating, doing things on my own, being self-reliant, directing other people, producing content. I just need somebody to say, Yuval, do this. You're going to do this 4 times through this amount of reps. And I'm like, okay. And I psychologically need that. So that's being fulfilled at Soldier Fit and at this other place called Solid Core, which is all, I think it's in the UK as well. It's a Pilates studio with Pilates reformers, which is one of the hardest workouts I have ever done. I'm one of the only men who takes this class because it is so emasculating. We don't pick up heavy things and put them back down. We're not throwing things or smashing things or running fast. We're moving the smallest little distance connected to pulleys and springs. And I'm just there and my body's just quivering and shaking because it's so hard and shreds me. And again, they're telling me what to do. And all of my instructors there are women. I'm sure they must have men who teach classes there as well. But I really respond to that girl power, to that feminine strength of these women who are so nothing less than badass powerhouses of strength. And what I like about that is the classes are so challenging that I keep wanting to give up, but I don't. I keep going, and I'm just waiting for the 50-minute class to be over. So those are 2 things that I'm doing because I recognize that I needed to do something physical that has nothing to do with my work, that has nothing to do with my creations, my films, my acting, my directing, my writing, whatever it is.
Do you consume any content that other people make, or is it?
Oh my
do you just
gosh,
don't have time?
yeah. Many times I find it hard to because my schedule is so intense, and by the end of the day, there are times that I just don't want to be in front of a screen. But on the other hand, it's so important for me to see what my contemporaries are doing, right? To see what's happening in the market and to be influenced by it. So I do absorb a lot of content on Netflix and Apple Plus and Hulu and Amazon and the different network televisions. And I make sure to also not only watch things that are made in the United States and for American audiences, but I want to watch other content. What is coming out of different countries? All of that inspires me to see what other people are creating and how they're succeeding in being storytellers. Inspires me to do the same, to keep creating content. And yeah, so I watch a lot of documentaries and sometimes really sophomoric comedy, like Big Mouth. Oh my gosh. Have you watched Big Mouth on Netflix?
I haven't yet, no, unfortunately. I do want to see it though.
So inappropriate, so funny. It's about a bunch of kids in school. It's an animated series about kids in schools going through puberty. And it is just, it's a series that can be watched by kids and adults alike. And it is just, yeah, I will make sure to watch things that just will make me laugh and forget about everything else happening in the world.
Yeah, we need that at times, especially at the moment. Well, I'll leave it there. But this has been it's been such a pleasure to speak to you today. Before we part, is there anything else that you want to talk about that we haven't touched on?
Well, I would love for all of your fans and all of the people who watch and absorb the great content that you create, to check me out across social media. I have a very active social media presence on YouTube at youtube.com/Yuval David. Instagram, there were other Yuval Davids there, so I'm Yuval_David_. But if you even just type in Yuval David, you should see that blue check mark. Same on Twitter, Yuval David, all across social media. But I try to explore social media as an additional platform for me to share content, to create content. And I am always looking to collaborate. So if there's anybody out there who absorbs all of the great stuff with the fan carpet, and if you are interested in creating content, show me what you got. Show me what you have, because who knows? Collaboration can always happen.
I absolutely can. All right, well, you have a good one, and yeah, congratulations with the series, and I look forward to seeing what comes next.
Oh, and I forgot to talk like this during. I was hoping I would, just in honor of you and all the things you do. Well, I really will have to be more selfie. When I worked in London, I was doing a play in London, and right near the flat which they put me up in, there was this homeless bloke who'd be right outside the building, and he always called people darling. He's like, "Oi, darling, spare quid." And I was like, "Oh, British people are so classy. Even the homeless people call people darling." I was like, "That's so great." Yeah, I was such an American in London. I was like, remember when Madonna lived in London with Guy
Ritchie.
And she started to talk like this too, and she developed that. That would be me. That was me. I was talking like this whenever I could. Anyway.
Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you for watching The Fan Carpet. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram for more content next time.
I'm here on the largest of the Balearic Islands, Mallorca, with the turquoise waters of the Mediterranean Sea, beautiful mountainous landscape, the thriving city of Palma, quaint little market towns, a growing number of luxury hotels. It's no surprise that the likes of Audrey Hepburn and Elizabeth Taylor like to holiday here. So come and join me as I take you round Mallorca.
Thank you for watching The Fan Carpet. If you like this video, be sure to click that thumbs up button at the bottom of your screen. And also be sure to subscribe to the Fan Carpet YouTube channels. They're absolutely free and so much fun too. Be sure to check out the official website, thefancarpet.com. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay up to date with reviews, competitions, the latest news, and so much more.